Alright, shut up. I'm gonna teach you all how to go and play Call of Duty Mobile effectively. God, will you shut up? No. Go away. There. Oh, whoops. God damn it, man. So, I'm filming this in Season 6, so just a little bit of a forewarning. But let me teach you some etiquette on how to go and play this game. You don't have to take my advice. You don't have to take my advice, but this is just what I feel is the best recommended. So, let's just go over something. You, by law, or at least by moral law, at least in my opinion, are not allowed to diss anyone running almost any of these guns. Almost any of them. You can only diss the people who use the Locust, the Outlaw, the Pharaoh, where is it? And the KN-44. If they aren't running any of these, like stock, common variety, if they're running any of these except for the KN-44, Outlaw, Locust, and Pharaoh, also the GKS, you're not allowed to diss them. Also the HVK-40. You are perfectly allowed to diss the HVK-40. Now, uncommons. There are very rare that you are not allowed to diss. I mean, anything above, normal, you're not allowed. You are allowed to diss. Now, rare is where some of the special abilities come into play. Shotguns you don't usually use because they're so trash. They are stupidly bad. You almost never run shotgun. Unless you have to do it for a specific quest, like in this season's Battle Pass, because God knows why, you don't run shotguns. Pharaoh you don't run. I don't see it run often. If you have the option to versus the Locust Yellow Snake versus the where in God's name is it? If you're having a dilemma of whether or not to run the Locust Yellow Snake or the Locust Flowing Bronze, if you have the Flowing Snake, use it. It has a lot more dignity. It looks a lot nicer. But what if they like the... Oh, shut up. No. This is better. This has higher dignity than this one. Yes, this one looks smoother, but this one has higher dignity. So now, Epic. Very few people have some of these except for the Black Gold. Very few people have these unless they either bought them or, use a lot of COD points. So far, there are quite a lot of epic varieties. And let me just clarify some things real quick. If you use the Hive, which I believe can be bought now, using credits. Yeah, credits. If you use this, good on you. Respect on you for that. Tempest, very uncommon, but you're allowed to use it. Annihilator. It's annoying, but you can use it. Very rare to see gravity spikes, but it's a little annoying to use. Sparrow. That's alright. It's quite annoying, but War Machine. It's toxic. Honest to God, try not to use this. Purifier, once again, honest to God, toxic. Transform Shield, usually seen by campers, however, very few use this. Because they either use Sparrow, War Machine, Purifier, or the next one, the Death Machine. which is by far the most toxic freaking thing in the entire game. Some of this is fine, some of these are fine. Smoke grenades, flashbangs, those are fine. Very rarely see the trophy system. That's something you very rarely see. EMP, don't use this. It may seem good, but it's not. Now, just try not to use grenades, because trip mine is you're camping. Sticky grenade is you want to go and yeet a grenade and get 2 kills across the map, but you don't want it to bounce it. But you don't want the grenade to bounce all over the goddamn place. Regular frag grenade, it's alright. Combat axe, very rarely see this because of how garbage it is. Perks, what have you. Let me just go over something right now, and this may be, not agreed upon by several, but this is my opinion on it. Don't waste $115 on a legendary gun. Unless you're gonna use it, unless it's gonna be the sole thing that you use. Unless it's going to be the sole thing that you decide to use. Like, let's say it's a legendary on, like, AK-117 or RPD. If you buy that, that's fine, because both are adequate. But if it's either a new gun of the season or a new previously unseen gun, and you think $115, which someone did the math, this equates to $115, and you decide to get all of that, you 100% deserve to be criticized. I personally criticize anyone who I see using anything from the crates or bundles. I mean, you very rarely see people using bundles because it's so garbage. A lot of this is heckin' garbage. Like, who would even use this? Like, what? But if you want to spend money, that's fine. But if you hear people going and calling you a pay-to-win, it's kind of understood why they'd be so angry at you. Because the vast majority of some of the stuff is pay-to-win. Like, let's say, and I know I'm going to be called out on this, the entire elite, or the entire premium tier. I know it's pay to win, but also don't do this. Just don't do this. Don't buy tiers just so you can get some things, because it's just, don't do that. Just suck it up, play the game normally, and then after you do all of the quests, if you feel that you want, like, the crates to go and get whatever the season's epic RNG gun is, if you feel you want to go and pay to do that, first off, just don't. Just suck it up and deal with the quest. Just shush. I don't care. Besides, even if you wanted to spend, let's say, 3,600 COD points, which equates to around $35 roughly. If you wanted to do that, then just instead buy, like, Just go and buy however much it is season crate wise. Don't buy 30 tiers just to get 30 crates. Because you're gonna get a bit more if you decide to go and do this. Also, on top of all this, I very rarely see this, but just use emotes. But whatever you do, do not use any of these. Do not use any of the uncommon tier. I mean, do not use any of these, please, because they're just garbage. I'm not a fan of the chest thumping, but I mean, you can use it. Now, final thing. Final thing. Skins. Stock skins are... I prefer you don't, but you can. This should be associated with snipers. So Special Ops 5 should be associated with snipers. This just looks really freaking good. The Outrider, just yet another rule of thumb. Don't use any female skins, because, well, there's a few reasons. One, if you're a male and you're using a female skin, then that's just wrong. I don't care how much you may like the color palette, it's just wrong. In every way possible. There's also another thing where I got this from a special bundle for redeeming $10 gift card, but another thing is just the RNG of getting good weapons is so insanely minuscule. Let's see. This was, tier, I forgot. So many of these from different seasons. Just don't use any female skins. Personally, this season, I feel that it's acceptable to use the Ghost, Cowboy, Tank, anything from previous seasons, as long as it's not a female. Weaponry-wise, just almost anything. Almost anything. If you have any legendary weapons, don't use them unless you're going into ranked. Because then they're actually going to make a difference. Epic tier, as long as you didn't pay for them, they're fair game. As long as you didn't have to shell out COD points, it's fine. But if you did, that's disgusting. That's it. That's the entire video on my phone. And goodbye.